yeah, not too bad. But I call it also house arrest, and I think it's quite strange.
I actually don't find it too bad because I've got the allotment, and that's my saving grace. So I come here more often, and I don't really miss work that much.
The system is only created from collective consciousness. We need to unite as people, and the only way to unite and have solidarity is to put aside our differences and accept and appreciate the fact that everyone is important in that game.
I booked a month to go to New Zealand, so this is handy for me because obviously I haven't had to go back to work yet. I'm quite senior in position, so they don't need me at the moment.
I find it to be a very special time. I mean, we've just come back from Spain. We were very fortunate to be able to be traveling for the last 3 months in Spain and spending a lot of time in nature on our own, which was quite amazing. So we had our own kind of confinement environment, but in a pretty way. Coming back to here and seeing what it's like, I think nature is giving us an opportunity. Nature is being very strict with us, and it's sending us back home and into a confined environment to really think. It's time to think, to evaluate things, to see what's more important, what's important, what isn't really important, what feeds the ego, what is creating solidarity amongst us. You know, a lot of us feel very powerless, and I think the reason we feel powerless is because we let our responsibility go a long time ago, and so we moan and complain a lot about the governing body, which, like children, you know, we throw tantrums continuously instead of saying, okay, you know, if I want to change, I need to look within. And I think this situation is giving us an opportunity to look inside ourselves and find our own universe and realize how connected we are, to the point where we can't even touch one another, you know. So it's a very special time, and it's affecting everyone in different levels. I mean, I don't have any money. You know, my business has been affected by it, so I'm not just speaking from, you know, undetached situation. But I do believe this is an opportunity for us. We cannot move into the future with the same mind that created the past. We really need to let go of physical matters particularly, and enhance the heart more and connect on a level that has never been connected before, and realizing that we are powerful as individuals and we can make a difference. Just the fact that we've been in lockdown, look at the environment and how it's not, you know, the air is better, the water's cleaner in a very short space of time, and to think that we as individuals don't have the power is a very misleading concept.
How has lockdown affected you?
At the moment, it hasn't affected me that much because I'm still getting paid, and I've applied for the government furlough scheme. So I actually do more exercise. I am outside more at the allotment. I've got bees. I maintain social distance. So yeah, at the moment, it has affected me in a positive way. Although you know, it's all this COVID is not good, and all my friends and my family are good and well.
It's going to be a better world after this, to be honest. I think that we're going to rethink about working from home, that much more people can work from home. Even doctors can work from home. So that's going to cut down a lot on pollution. I think people will realise that, you know, how important food is, and start thinking about where food comes from and why we should try and source things more locally. I think that children will remember this the rest of their lives and have a different values. I mean, so many things are going to change. I think it's actually a wake-up call for all of us. Look at us, we're on the allotment, we're growing our food, right? This is a good thing. We need more young people on allotments.
Well, I think the positive stuff is small things. Like on our street, I would say 3/4 of the people
Friends now.
actually blank you and don't acknowledge you and say hello.
Now
and
they
that's
do.
changed. My business, Body, Breath and Mind, I'll put a plug in there, is about health and boosting your immune system. So there are alternative ways of doing these kind of things.
People started walking.
I think more hopefully, but we have to fight for them. There's more progressive ideas coming through, the Zoom thing, working from home, environmental, various ramifications could come from it. However,
even
I'm
schooling
skeptical.
Schooling can change, you know.
I've got mom, dad, brother, and they all my family lives in Italy, but they haven't been affected. They haven't been affected at the moment, but they're all wearing masks, gloves, goggles, and they just get on with life, and they have to. We all have to.
Freedom of speech, I think, is very important that we maintain that and that we're able to whistleblow or say those things. But there has to be also a social responsibility, so that you can't incite people, for example, to start rioting or to start burning down 5G thing, because obviously, you know, that's not a good idea. But you should have freedom of speech. You should be able to say what you say, but you should be able to back it up with the facts.
We have to start allowing faith in things that we don't understand, inviting it into our lives, because that is the next phase of society. And if we don't learn that, I don't know. I don't want to be the one to say.
How do you feel about social distancing, and how do you feel that will have as a psychological impact on society?
Well, I mean, I'm not the doctor, but I'm I'm involved in health. I don't like it because I like to be close to people and talk to people, and I don't like that kind of dynamic where some people really seem to be so thrown by it that you feel like you're actually a piece of vermin and they move a long way from you. I kind of understand this idea of the transmission. But there's misinformation. I read something in the Financial Times that questioned these things like masks a bit. Then I've seen other more controversial. I saw the London Real David Icke, Brian Rose thing, which I think is really powerful, and the lockdown on the freedom of speech, which has come out of that, and the skepticism about certain things. So, but I'm prepared to play the game and do it.
I think the social distancing, as a doctor, I think the social distancing is absolutely essential. It had to be done. And I don't want to go back and find that the wards are full when I go back and I have to go and work on those wards. I'm very senior position, and I think it's very important. But I do feel for certain people. So I've got a lot of friends we're together as a couple, but there's a lot of people who are on their own, and for them that's really tough. So I'm making a big effort to phone up friends I know that are on their own and video call them to make sure, because they're getting really lonely. My brother is on his own, for example, and a few friends are on their own. I think that's really tough. But in general, I think that social distancing should be stopped now for the under 30s, because they are very low risk anyway, and they find it really difficult. Come on, when you're under 30, I think the police going on to these people, I think they should back off a bit, because come on, what under 30-year-old can socially distance? It's different if they're in a relationship, but it's really tough, and they don't really get it, and they're not really at risk. So I think that they should stop it now for the under 30s and let them be, because then we could have an economy back, and if they get sick, they're not going to get ill.
This isolation time is a very important time to contemplate, to think, to feel. Pain is there, definitely, and I'm with all the people who are suffering. I've done a lot of suffering myself to come to these conclusions. Suffering is part of life, and difficulties are part of life. So nature is not compromising, unfortunately, to the ones who feel that they're weak. We got to become strong and find strength within ourselves, because through strength it gives us the hope to fight. It gives us the hope to find other ways. And the only reason we're not feeling strength is because we allow all our power to be taken by the system. We chose that. The only way we can gain it back is taking responsibility for our lives, for our consequences, and stop blaming.
It was difficult at the start, because I kept forgetting to maintain the distance when I go out. It wasn't natural. Now it has become more natural, so I pay more attention. It's been difficult because I am Italian, so I'm very, I kiss, I hug, so I thought it was a bit rude at the beginning not to do that. So that's the hardest part for me.
Well, there was on Facebook my daughter actually posted this really sad picture of a panda bear in zoo, locked down, and very upset that it cannot go into nature. We're basically getting what we deserve to get, but not in a bad way, because every situation we can learn from or not learn from and get even bigger whack later on in the future. We are given a window here to really see how our behavior as human being has a consequences on our life as well, on society at large, but it comes back like a boomerang back to us. So this effect is actually maybe allowing us the space to respect one another. We have the choice to see things in a victimized situation, or we have a choice to see everything as an opportunity to grow and develop and bring about new ways that we never even had the opportunity to do. This is our time to do that. This is the time now for us to really, even if we disagree on opinions with one another, is to be able to respect the differences, because we are all one body. It's like dissecting our heads from our legs, from our arms, because different parts of our body behave in a different way. It's time to merge the two extreme. Extreme is a very destructive way as well. We tend to go with one side or the other. Both have the truth, and both have disagreements. We need dialogue. We need to really, first of all, have respect to one another, even if we disagree with people, even if we don't like people. We have to understand everyone is important. We can never leave anyone behind. Everyone has a particular unique mission to fulfill. And therefore, some are obvious and some are not so obvious. And it's time to allow that space. So maybe the social distancing is a good thing as well. We have to allow the space in between for new ways to come forward, and hopefully more constructive than destructive. And it's where our minds is at. If we come from fear, anger and foolishness, we would still carry on blaming and we would still feel the victim side of ourselves. But if we come from courage, compassion and wisdom, we will see opportunities, and we will see that we need everyone in this time and age. We need everyone.
I hope that people will appreciate nature and Mother Earth better, because the air is cleaner, the sea is, you've got whales coming back or dolphins, people are nicer in general, pollution is at the lowest, so I'm hoping that people will be more appreciative of what we have, really.
Money is important as a tool, but it's just a tool. Just because the elite have got money doesn't make them more powerful than we are. That's very misleading concept, and entertaining negativity and allowing the problem to be outside of ourselves, this is when we lose power. It's really, really important to take responsibility for our own lives and take responsibility for our consequences. If we are responsible for it, we can find solutions. We need to believe in that. So belief system has got to come back. Not believing in God necessarily, believe in what makes you happy. Believe in yourself and believe in others. That's a belief system that anybody could exercise and work with, Believing in the dignity of all life. All living beings are important, not just human beings. Everyone is important. We are all an organic system, that the only way we can work together is bring the two extremes, the sides, divide and rule is just creating havoc.
I think it has people are more ready to help each other, so we are less selfish, and in in a good way. So we are not attached to materialistic things, clothes, shoes, or new cars. So I think we should think about a simpler way of life rather than accumulate things which we really don't need. And I think that's a good thing.
And we can really choose to think in a grand scheme of things and have big dreams and allow the youth to come forward. Maybe it's time for us old people to sit back a little, think about and contemplate what we've done and where we want this world to go, and allow youth to take the lead. It's their world, it's their future.
Getting back to this freedom of speech issue, we need to be able to discuss things without people immediately jumping to polarized positions of you're right, you're wrong, you're an idiot and you're stupid. We need to give each other the space to discuss things, because most people, we're very smart. People in the publics, we need to discuss these things. So I think this is another kind of important thing for me that's come out of that.
Ask ourselves, do we really need all these things, and why we need all these things? What are we hiding that we need to pile all this stuff on us, Happiness comes from very little, actually. We don't need a lot. What we need is the heart. The heart is the biggest thing, The heart is where life and love and laughter and joy share together. We need to cultivate our hearts as human beings to our environment, to our loved ones, to the ones we don't love very much either, because they have a function too in our life.
Yeah.
Actually, we find that the real people that really challenging us to the core are the ones that are actually creating the most value in our lives.